Assassin's Creed Shadows, the latest entry in one of my favorite series, is finally taking us to feudal Japan, and I got to play it early. We're back in the 16th century, we have dual protagonists, and the bird is gone. There's a lot to talk about. Howdy folks, I'm Kanaju, and these are my hands-on impressions of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Thanks to Ubisoft and Ubisoft Creators Program for giving me the opportunity to play the upcoming game before everyone else. Okay, all of the footage you see in this video was captured from a work-in-progress build, so keep that in mind, and I played it remotely. So if it looks like I'm total trash at parrying, blame the remote play, okay? Yep, it's the remote play.
Also, the game was running in 4K, but my remote play session was captured in 1080p.
So, whether you're new to the channel or already subscribed, lucky you, you may not know that I'm a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. I've been playing since the first game, and I have over a dozen Assassin's Creed games currently installed on my PS5. I'm not joking. I enjoy some of them more than others. I see Unity. So if you'd like to know my thoughts on those, I have a huge tier list video that covers all of that. Right now though, I'd like to share my thoughts on AC Shadows, the series' next big release. Because I came away from my preview impressed overall. I might have a couple of small concerns, but we'll get to it. So let's begin with my favorite part of every Assassin's Creed game, the setting. Listen, I love the combat of Assassin's Creed, but it's the explorable interpretations of historical settings that always capture my imagination. That's why I have so many Assassin's Creed city ranking videos. Shadows is set in 16th century Japan, something that plenty of folks have been requesting for like the last decade. Admittedly, I wasn't one of those people, but after my hands-on time with the game, even I'm excited to explore and learn about feudal Japan come March. Regardless of what people say about Ubisoft open worlds, and people do be saying a lot, I found that the last few Assassin's Creed open worlds were some of the most detailed and immersive that I'd ever played. And the Japan of AC Shadows appears to continue this trend. The Harima region I explored in my preview session is beautiful. I noticed that grass and trees seem to react to the wind more realistically than ever before, and I couldn't help but get some Ghost of Tsushima vibes, but honestly, it looked great. With this game boasting seasonal weather, I could see this being one of the most beautiful games in the series. That said, it is still Assassin's Creed. There are towns with strongholds and side quests to clear out. I spent most of my time in the town of Himeji, surrounding Himeji Castle. While I enjoyed exploring Himeji, it didn't offer the kind of urban gameplay that I'm always looking for in Assassin's Creed. I love the city games like Syndicate and Brotherhood, but I'm also a big fan of the open world games like Origins and Odyssey. While on paper these games might seem very different, they all featured large urban areas with plenty of parkour routes that made rooftop traversal more fun than just running around on the street. And to all the haters out there, yes, even Odyssey. However, Himeji seemed way easier to explore from the streets than on the rooftops. There wasn't a lot of verticality, or those convenient ropes that you usually see between buildings in Assassin's Creed. It felt like a believable Japanese town. It was beautiful, but for the most part, it didn't feel advantageous to run across the rooftops. I'm not too worried though, since Himeji is clearly a smaller town, but even small towns in Origins featured multiple parkour routes. Perhaps I just needed more time to explore than what I had. Believe you me, I'll explore each town and city in greater detail when the full game releases. Look forward to that video. But speaking of parkour, the free running gameplay is a staple of the series and something that I know a lot of players have been curious about. However, I can't talk about gameplay without first addressing the topic of dual protagonists, Yasuke and Naoe. In Shadows, you'll have the choice to play as either Yasuke, the samurai tank, or Naoe, the stealthier assassin. You can switch between them whenever you like in the open world, or at certain points in the story. Unlike previous attempts at dual protagonists, each character actually feels distinctly different to play. In AC Syndicate, you could play as either Evie or Jacob Fry. Each character had access to different weapons, but outside of a couple of abilities like Evie's invisibility, they felt almost identical to play. Both could climb instantly with the rope launcher, both could free run quickly, both could hold their own in combat. Jacob was supposed to be the brawler and Evie was supposed to be stealthy. While they did play well that way, I mostly just stuck to Jacob, even for stealth parts, because there wasn't that much of a difference. In Shadows, it makes a huge difference. Yasuke is a beast in combat. He has tons of health, hits hard, and carries big sticks. He can charge through doors and walls and feels like a superhuman in combat. However, he looks kind of stupid when I try and stealthily infiltrate a base. On the other hand, we have Naoe, who feels like a classic assassin archetype. She has a hood, she has a hidden blade, and she feels right at home in stealth encounters. When stealth fails, however, she can get overwhelmed by multiple combatants. Or maybe I just sucked at combat because of remote play. Regardless, she's equipped with a grappling hook for fast descents and quick getaways, so outrunning guards with her is always an option. Yasuke, on the other hand, climbs about as fast as I would in real life. He's slow, in other words. He doesn't carry a grappling hook or a hidden blade, so while stealthing as Yasuke, killing people is a very dramatic event. To differentiate the characters further, they also have their own skill trees. All of this adds up to make the experience of playing either character feel noticeably different than the other. Stealth sections are more fun with Naoe. Combat is easier and more brutal with Yasuke. That means selecting your protagonist at the beginning of a mission is now both a narrative and a tactical choice. And I like that. Based on my time with the game, I can see myself switching between them regularly, rather than sticking with one for most of the game. Exploring cities as Naoe seems ideal, while taking out strongholds as Yasuke looks like a lot of fun. It's a great balance that they seem to have struck so far. Circling back to freerunning, you might be wondering, how is it? Well, with Odyssey and Valhalla featuring some of the weakest freerunning in the series, Assassin's Creed Mirage made a point of focusing on the mechanic. Parkour routes were a big selling point of that game's urban setting. In Shadows, however, I didn't see as clear of a focus on parkour routes. However, the freerunning has definitely seen some improvement. Naoe's grappling hook is a great solution for the region's architecture, which features a lot of overhanging roofs. It's as easy to use as tapping L1 to begin ascending. It also doubles as a way to swing over gaps. It doesn't feel as overpowered as the rope launcher from Syndicate, which I regularly use to escape combat. Instead, it only goes as far as you can throw it. It's great for climbing vertical structures like towers, without replacing traditional freerunning for more fast-paced situations. The new animations also feel clean when you're jumping off of buildings. Overall, it feels great to run around as Naoe. Climbing as Yasuke sucks, but that's by design, so I approve. What about stealth though? Well, before we talk about that, I just have to say that I was very sad to discover we no longer have a controllable bird companion.
I want my bird.
I know some people didn't care for it, but for the digital tourist, it was an invaluable tool for seeing cities from the sky. I actually appreciate this game's greater focus on scouting locations yourself prior to attacking, but I still miss my bird. So, how does stealth work without a bird to mark enemies, you may be wondering? Well, you simply mark them yourself. Easy as that. Interestingly, only Naoe has eagle vision, which allows her to detect enemies through walls. And this is just one more reason to stick with her for stealthy missions. That and her hidden blade. Yasuke is missing both, which leads to my Yasuke stealth missions ending in a battle most of the time. Another big change to stealth comes in the ability to lie down prone. You can actually crawl through tall grass to remain hidden, or sneak under floors. This makes you much harder to see. I think it's a good improvement to the formula. I still miss the bird though. So, combat, right? Now it's Yasuke's time to shine. Although, if I'm being fair, both characters play well. Combat is similar to previous open world titles with hitboxes, parrying, and dodging. I will say though that it feels different this time. Whereas Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla all had very kind of loose, swingy attacks, attacks in Shadows feel more controlled and precise. Everything also felt more reactive. Enemies react to getting sliced, even the environment would react to your battle. Walls, doors, crates, and more could be destroyed in combat. Swinging swords also cut down foliage. It all contributes to combat feeling more satisfying. Even when I started to experience some connection issues with the remote play session, probably an issue on my end because I was running Wi-Fi, it still felt fun to play, so it was that good. Now, full disclosure, I'm not like a hardcore combat guy. I usually stick to stealth when I can, so I might not be the best judge of combat mechanics, but I know I liked it. And not because it was easy, mind you. I died plenty during the demo. Still enjoyed it though. So, setting is cool, gameplay seems like it's in a good place. What about the story? I'm gonna say something that may surprise some longtime viewers, but I'm not terribly invested in the stories of Assassin's Creed. I've always spent most of my time exploring, collecting, and clearing out forts rather than worrying about the main narrative. From what I saw in my demo, that probably won't change too much for me with Shadows. What's there is fine, but I'll probably be too distracted by shiny things to get that invested. Now, all that said, I do love a cool character. Ezio, Connor, Bayek, and Cassandra are some of my favorites. Assassin's Creed has no shortage of great characters, and I'm totally willing to give Yasuke and Naoe a chance. They didn't interact too much during my time with the game, but I'm hoping they have some kind of dynamic in the full game. The villains, on the other hand, which I do not have footage of, seem like they're going to be pretty cool. So, from what I saw, investigating masked villains and shadows will follow a similar format to Mirage. You can gather clues and evidence at your own pace. The more you learn, the more prepared you are to take on your assassination target. I thought it worked well in Mirage, Valhalla, and Odyssey, so I'm looking forward to that song and dance in Shadows as well. I noticed that objectives are a little more vague in Shadows than previous titles. Instead of being given a marker for every objective, you're given a description of where to look. This forces you to look at your map and figure out where to investigate. Nothing I saw was too complicated to figure out, but I appreciated that the game put a little bit of that agency back into my hands. Combined with the lack of bird drone, it means you actually need to do a little reconnaissance before pursuing an objective. Very cool. Lastly, I want to talk about a couple of things that I wasn't as hot on. For one, some of the facial animations weren't great. They felt like open world video game character animations, if you know what I mean. Cinematics looked great, but some of those side quest characters looked a little rougher.
Are you ready, Seeker?
I was hoping you could tell me what this fortune says.
Who gave you that? It doesn't belong to you. You shouldn't be here.
I also didn't get a great sense of the two main protagonists having any kind of dynamic during my playtime. Granted, I only spent like a couple of hours or so with them outside of the prologue, but they didn't really speak all that much. I assume it would be more fleshed out in the main game. It was just something I was sort of looking for. I also got stuck next to this ladder, and that really sucked because my character kept trying to climb it while in combat, but overall, I enjoyed my time with the game. So I could continue to go on, but I'm sure if you're interested, you've probably watched a couple of these preview videos by now. To sum up my thoughts, I really liked what I saw during my demo. The world, the combat, the gameplay, it has me excited. I was casually looking forward to AC Shadows before, but now I genuinely can't wait to play more. It feels like a classic Assassin's Creed game with its focus on planning and improvisation while maintaining the freedom of the more recent titles. If it has a few great cities, then I think we may be in for a treat. But hey, don't just take my word for it. I enjoy most Assassin's Creed games after all, so I might be a little biased. Don't forget to check out my tier list to see what I mean by most. I'll be interested to see what other folks thought of the preview, not to mention how it lands on March 20th, 2025. In the meantime, let me know what you think. Are you looking forward to Shadows? Skeptical? What element of Assassin's Creed is most important to you? For me, it's the world, then stealth and combat. But maybe for you, you're more interested in the story and characters. I don't know. So, tell me. And if you're interested in more content exploring the historic settings of the Assassin's Creed games, I have you covered. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Really helps. And I'm still accepting subscribers at the $0 a month tier if you're interested in my full review of the game later this year. Thanks again to Ubisoft for letting me play the game early. That's awesome. And thanks to all of you for making me someone they know exists. So I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
This one carried a letter.